Welcome to the Foul Play YouTube channel.
Hi, everyone. Sunshine Christina here. Welcome to episode 8 of the Crime Theory Exchange. And today we are going to be discussing the Nicole Baukus case out of Montgomery, Texas. Joining us today is, of course, my co host Jax, who I could not do this without. How are you today, Jax?
Oh, I'm doing just peachy, peachy, peachy.
And also, we have Checking Convictions. How are you today, Linda?
I'm well, thank you.
And Miss Inexplicable Susan.
I'm great. Thanks, Christina. Hi, everybody.
Just Rhonda.
Hi, Christina. Thank you. Hi, everybody in chat. Right off the bat, I have a request from somebody. They were wondering if you could do just a really quick, brief overview of the case. Some people missed last week's and they're not sure of what the case is about. If you can, thanks.
Yeah, definitely. After we do introductions, we'll definitely do that.
Right,
And
thank you.
Miss Zoe.
Hi, everyone.
So, and hello to everyone in chat. Rhonda and Linda are going to help us with the questions from the chat. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate and ask. And thanks everyone for coming today. So the Nicole Baukus case was actually one that I believe Nosy Wren brought to the group or the research community that we're all a part. And Ripper Jack has done some great videos on her case, and I recommend everyone going there and watching for sure, because he has definitely done some in-depth research and taken some time to put together some great videos explaining why this case is important and why Nicole Baukus needs our help. So in 2012, I believe on June 29th of 2012, Nicole was at a bar and in Montgomery, Texas, which is a suburb of Houston, Texas. And she had a gentleman, or she consumed a large amount of alcohol in a short period of time. I think the total, Jax, was like 23 drinks and about
something like that. Yeah, 23 drinks. It was a lot of shots and a lot of beer.
Yep, a lot of that. And they have her on video leaving the bar at 2 o'clock in the morning and driving away. At 3, I believe the accident occurred. So that was at like 2:03 when she left the bar. Now at about 3:06 in the morning, her truck is seen going the wrong way on I-45. It's an interstate in Houston or in Montgomery, Texas, and it hits another vehicle head on, well, kind of head on, and two occupants of that vehicle, a young woman and a young man, were killed instantly, and another young man was severely injured. Nicole is charged as the driver of the truck at the time of the incident. They named her at that time as the driver. She was so intoxicated, she has no memory of the event. Her trial takes place in 2013, and halfway through her trial, she takes a plea. And she is sentenced to 38 years in prison for, I think it's 2 counts of DUI, vehicular manslaughter, and then 1 count of DUI causing serious injury. And the newspapers, the media, everyone's billing her as a drunk party girl. self-entitled, just, it's Nicole is this really bad person, yada yada yada. Well, I guess around, I don't know when her new attorney took her case, but she had an appeal in 2018, and that's when evidence started coming out that shows that Nicole, not only may she not have been driving the vehicle at the time that it was in the head-on crash, but also that police knew that at the time and they planted evidence to make it appear that she was driving. And they ignored witness statements. They tried to get witnesses to change statements. Her defense attorney at the time of her trial was pretty much ineffective. He didn't interview anyone. He did no work on her case.
It was terrible.
It was bad. It was really, really bad. And basically, I think she was 24 years old. It had to have been terrifying to not remember anything about that night. Your, you know, your whatever the result, two people are dead. And she was just overwhelmed and probably just wanted it to be over. And so she took a plea deal. There's been some discussion that maybe she was led to believe that her charges were going to run concurrent instead of consecutive. But the judge at the time gave her a consecutive sentence. But the judge in her case had to resign, or he himself was going to face prison. Montgomery County is known as the most corrupt county in Texas. And, it's just it's like the Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey case, that once you look past the surface, nothing is as it should be if she was indeed the driver of this truck. And one of the most telling things that this case is a wrongful conviction is that the officer who first arrived on the scene had a dash cam, and you can clearly see Nicole standing by the truck with her shoes, her white shoes on her feet, yet he turns off his dash cam, he turns off
And
his
Yep.
microphone, and 2 minutes later, those shoes that were on Nicole's feet are now found wedged under the gas
and the bloody sock.
and a bloody sock. And that was the key evidence used by the prosecution, saying this is proof that she was the driver. And as we know, that's not how you are supposed to investigate a case. So she definitely needs our help. The more attention to these cases, the better, because they want people to not talk about them.
William's got a question. He wants to know who the driver was. Name him. His name.
We believe. So there is audio at the scene where an officer asks her who was driving her truck, and she names Canvas Duran. Now, Canvas Duran is also the man who was buying her this alcohol at the bar. And they had known each other. Oh, let me back up. They went to high school together, but they didn't really know each other. The high schools in that area of Texas have like 3,000 students in them. So that's a very, very likely scenario, right? Because that's a lot of kids.
Oh, yeah.
But they had met about 3 weeks prior to the night of the accident and had been talking and hanging out a little bit. And they met at the bar, and she left, then he left, and there's an hour of time from her leaving the bar to the time of the accident.
Right.
And the bar and the site of the accident, I believe Mystic Jinx looked it up, and it's about an 8-minute drive. So where was Nicole for that other 56 odd minutes, right? So it looks like he allowed her to drive off, but without him, as trassed as she was. And there's bar video of her leaving, and she's stumbling. It's clear she's intoxicated. And then he apparently met up with her right after that. And there's a witness who says that he saw Nicole's truck on the side of the road with the passenger door open. And then there's a friend who says that she called Nicole, and Nicole said that she was sick and not feeling well. So the thinking is maybe she was getting sick, or was this guy trying to, have his way with her, and she did get sick and it kind of grossed him out, and he sped off, not realizing he was going the wrong way on the feeder road, gets on the freeway going the wrong way, causes the accident, and leaves her there to take the ride.
Yeah, he runs.
Yep, he runs. So Jax is kind enough, first off, excuse me, Ripper was kind enough to let us use some of his videos, and then Jax is kind enough to host them. So we're going to take a look at some of the simulations of the accident itself. We're going to look and see how easy it would have been for someone to escape. And did we get the witness statement loaded?
I don't think I have that. Do I?
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. And we're just going to discuss the case and see what people's thoughts are, and see what everybody thinks about this. It's definitely a case that needs to be talked about, and there are very relevant and very very troubling claims made in her post-conviction petition for relief that warrant a new trial. And it's just going to be interesting to see if she can break through in the corruption that's in Montgomery County.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. That's good.
Was that a good summation?
Yeah, that's a good rundown. I mean,
okay.
You can't really put, I guess, everything into it, but that tells a good summary. And I would definitely recommend, anyone that's really interested, in the video description of this one and the one from last week, there are links to Ripper's channel and directly to actually his videos. He's made 3 videos. The first one is about 17 minutes or so, and it details really well. It gives a really good summary with some photos, and the video that Christina mentioned from the first officer that rolled up on the scene. You can clearly see she's got her shoes on, white shorts. And then, anyway, I would definitely watch that one. In addition, I wasn't going to ask Ripper about showing more of his stuff that he's presented, but he's like, dude, just use it. It's fine. He made another video. It's an hour and 20 minutes or so. And within that video, there are like 6 interviews of different people associated around this case. And some of them are, they're like experts, and it's really good. I'm going to show some clips from that. Once we're going to look at some animations that are on the Facebook feed. I'll get those loaded here in a minute. But we really appreciate Ripper. We want to support Nicole, and, whatever efforts we can, band together and do, I'm thrilled to death to do it, and really appreciate him allowing us to use his stuff. So and he also did a 4-hour video with even more information and so forth. But definitely, I would definitely check that out. Anybody that's interested in this case, because he really goes into some great detail. What's that? I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to mention that hopefully by the 1st of next week, you'll be able to go on the file.
Oh yeah, you kind of dropped out there. Yeah.
To go on the
Uh,
foul. And we'll have the case files as well.
Yeah. We're going to host. It's a lot of I guess pretty much every document in the case we're going to be hosting in our library. Nicole will have her own section. So anyone that's interested in the case can go look at it, get whatever they need. So, hello, Smart Duck. Sherry Lynn's here. Our wonderful Supermod's cat and Dark Side. Woo! Hopefully I haven't missed anyone. Are you ready for me to start loading some of these videos so we can take a look at them?
Yes.
Can
Yes.
I add something, Jax?
Please.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that she had like 23 shots. She was injured with injuries from somebody that would be in the passenger side, not the driver's side.
That's right.
Her left foot was fractured, I believe.
Yes.
And the bones on the top part of her foot. And then seatbelt, where the seatbelt clicks on your side and hip, she had bruising. Her purse and belongings were on the passenger side on the ground when they opened the door where she was. And when they asked her immediately, she did name, what was his name?
Duran.
Canvas, yeah. Named him immediately. And if you think about it, I mean, so stoned drunk that you don't remember anything. I mean, this girl remembered nothing about this. You're not going to have time to make up a name, so I just wanted to add that.
Yep.
One of the videos shows how her foot got injured, and it's pretty clear that these injuries would not have occurred if she had been in the driver's seat. So
yeah, I'm not gonna promise in which order we're gonna be watching these videos on Facebook, but they're all on the Nicole Baukus research group, and I'm not sure if there's a link to that. I think I put a link in the description. If I didn't, I will. So anyway, this is the first one I've got loaded. This is the first one in line that I grabbed. We got several here to look at. If you look at the tabs across the top, so we'll. If everybody's ready, I'm gonna guess here that anyone that's in Discord that has YouTube muted, you're gonna have to unmute to listen to this. So here we go. Now this one doesn't have any audio, so
yeah, they may not have audio. I don't think.
Anybody catch that? How quickly that happened? Oops, let me do that again.
Yeah. And see where her head is.
Yep. So that's how quickly that could happen. And as I remember, they were going like 40. It wasn't like a high speed kind of collision. Another thing to point out that we didn't mention in the summary, the passenger side airbag didn't go off. However, certain vehicles, you have to be over a certain weight. The later model vehicles, you have to be over a certain weight before it will activate that airbag, because if a child is sitting in that seat and the airbag goes off, they can really get damaged. So there's a weight, whatever, in the actual passenger seat.
I think they can also turn them off.
Correct. In certain models of vehicles, you can definitely turn that option off. Absolutely. Okay, this next one that we're going to look at, I'm going to close that one. This next one we're going to look at has 5 videos, so let's take a look at them. This is number 1. Yeah, none of these have sound.
Yeah.
So this is showing how Canvas could have gotten out of the vehicle and ran. Look, and we're not accusing the guy doing it, but we're alleging it. You know, this is a speculation from our point.
Right. They said
Yeah.
that there's just no way he could have climbed out of the vehicle. So they
Right.
made this to show the different ways that he could climb out.
And this is a dual cab truck, so
I mean, no, it would have been easy to climb out because Nicole climbed out, right? I
That's
mean,
right.
he probably helped her get out and then just took off.
or he may have just said, "See ya, I'm out."
Yeah. I wonder, do we know if the passenger window was busted or was it down?
You know, we'd probably look at some of the other photos when we get them.
In the reenactment, I think it shows you.
Yeah, because it wouldn't surprise me if she wasn't passed out prior. She was probably knocked out from the crash.
And there was a counsel in there, so it wasn't like a bench seat. So it would, would have took a little bit more for her to like jump over too,
This is
Yeah.
this is showing somebody that passed by them. I don't remember the guy's name, but he's in a larger truck. There was a lift kit in it. And he could look right down and see.
And he's seen her in the passenger side.
Yeah. What's his name, Christina?
It's
You told-
Arnes, and I don't remember his last name.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's maybe Robinson. Maybe someone in the chat knows for sure.
And then this next video coming up. Side view. Yep. Wow. Boom.
Yeah.
That's showing the metacarpal damage that she had to her foot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ripper says Buchanan is the name.
Arnes Buchanan.
Buchanan. Okay. Yeah.
And then, pause.
He's the witness that Ripper has on his video at the 22-minute mark.
Okay.
Okay, another animation. These are really well done. Wow.
Pretty realistic, huh?
Very.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I actually was very impressed by that compared to what we see in the Stephen and Brendan case. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, for reconstruction unit for Wisconsin, I guess they used the best they had at the time. So yeah. All right, we got I think one more here. This is an overhead. Wow.
I
Well,
see
that-
they missed the first one and clicked. That's how yeah.
We'll let this one run again. Wow, that's a very interesting video.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all 5 of those. Let me check here. Yeah, it goes back to that one. Okay. And this next one, well, you know what? I'm going to pause right here for commentary. I'm going to turn this off for commentary. There we go. So, if you just look at this, from a straight on standpoint, it looks awful for her. When you have, I don't know how many police officers until, we really get our hands on the reports and can start reading what was written and what was presented to the prosecutor. Because, we've talked about perception. We really talked about it a lot in the last a couple open mics and even in Uncle Ken's perception of how people interpret, what's presented in front of them. Prosecutor, when the cops go to them and say, hey, we've got this, this, and this, sometimes, a lot of times, the prosecutor's like, you don't have enough. You're going to have to help the case or whatever. we need more information, whatever, we need more evidence. So whatever is presented to that prosecutor, I would really be curious to see how that, what they had.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's there I was watching it was actually made by the one of the people who run the Montgomery County Reporter website. The husband, he was at this crash, so there's like a 27-minute clip of footage he shot, and in that is we call them state troopers in Florida, but the Texas version of a state trooper is at the scene while they're still cleaning it up, and they named Nicole as the driver then, but
Yeah.
yet they have witnesses at the scene telling them she wasn't the driver. So the decision was made at the scene to ignore what witnesses were saying.
What was that trooper or that cop's name that suggested it? It wasn't the guy that rolled up. It was another one, wasn't it? I'm sure it was.
Well, the video that I'm speaking of, it's a female state trooper with a hat on. She named her as the driver at the
Wow.
scene. So I'm wondering if, I mean, I just don't understand why they chose, how a decision could be made so quickly to just not look for the real driver. Was it because they recognized this guy's name? Because there are rumors floating around that maybe he was an informant, or maybe he was protected because he had friends in law enforcement. But to decide at that moment not to find the driver and pin it on this woman, why? And
Yeah,
then it just doesn't make any sense.
well, we've seen in other cases that informants are protected. They get second, third, fourth, fifth. They go on to do some really terrible things to people, and still being protected. And it's almost impossible in a lot of states to get records of if there are any records of a confidential informant. They won't let them go. They're protected, and it's crazy. Sherry Lynn had asked a question. So no seatbelt marks on her body. Actually, there were. She had injuries on her left hip consistent with being in the passenger seat. And you have to look at the angle of impact. It wasn't a straight-on impact. The truck was hit on the impact was on the left front, and her injuries line up with someone. And I'm going to play some clips from some other people that Ripper has got the interviews that they explain it even actually a lot better than I'm talking about it, because I'm not a newbie to the case, but I'm pretty new. So you'll see.
Yes.
Hey, there's Disco. Yeah. Disco Pervert. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Hey, Disco. Yeah. So the impact was an angled impact, I guess is how it would be best described. It was front, but it was front driver of the truck only. It took off. The vehicle they hit was, I think, a Chevy View, which is a very tiny car, similar to what could we compare it to? Like a Ford Fiesta, or like a two-door Honda Civic.
Subcompact.
Yep. And it was probably like a 2006, 2007 model. Very tiny. And she was in a Ford, it looks like an F-150 4-door.
It's a double cab. It's a sizable truck.
Yeah, and I own one. Well, my husband owns one, and those are very heavy vehicles, and they're very solid. They are, they're very solid. There's not a lot of plastic on them, whereas these little subcompact cars are, and it basically just crumpled. Um, it it was very it was they're great cars because they are good on gas, but they don't stand up well in accidents at all. Let's see.
River's going to send me a time link to the injuries that Nicole had. I'm going to grab that here just in a second.
Okay. Does anybody in the chat have any questions?
Well, there's comments and things. I think between Linda and Ripper, they're probably getting answered, though, it looks like.
Good.
Yeah, they're both pretty damn knowledgeable about the case. I'm curious from the, for me, just going through everything that we went through with Avery and, even Daniel's case and some of those that we've taken a pretty big dive in. I'm interested in starting from the beginning, like where we're at, and seeing how it progressed and got into the hands of, the prosecutor and that kind of thing. I want to see what happened. But to me, that's really important. It'd be interesting. I'm sure we don't have it, and there's probably no way to get it now. But I would be interested in whatever dispatch and calls that went out over the air from that time frame. I'm sure there's no way to get it now, but just a thought,
Yeah, definitely. And we were talking about this a little bit yesterday between, in the community. And if Nicole wasn't the driver, then she's not responsible, right? The person driving the vehicle is the person responsible for the road. Now, could other people be held liable civilly? Yes, but criminally, no.
Yeah, that was a discussion we got into. I'm sorry, Christine. I was just going to explain. That was a discussion we got into on Discord yesterday, and it's about legalities and different. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, Free Nicole is in the chat. Maybe
they
want to join us on this.
Yeah, Free Nicole, you're more than welcome to join us in Discord, and we'll.
But yeah, it's and especially if the driver was this Canvas Duran, he intentionally got her sloshed, right? He bought almost all of the drinks she consumed.
You know what they say? The old country song, Christina, tequila makes her clothes fall, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure that was his goal. His goal was to hook up. I'm sure it was.
Well, if he was, and if this is, we don't have evidence of it yet, or we don't have, it's not, written in stone that he was the driver. All we have to go on are what we know so far.
Right.
So we know that he intentionally got her completely intoxicated to the point.
Bought her 4 to 6 drinks. 4 to 6 drinks.
4 to 6. Okay.
Yeah, he only bought her 4 to 6, and that was at the end, I guess. She was like highly intoxicated before that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a comment. There's a comment from Free Nicole Baukus, and this, she says, in Texas, only the driver can be held responsible for the crime.
Okay. So that's very important. So if she wasn't the driver, then she's a victim. She's not the defendant, and she doesn't deserve to be in prison. The person driving the vehicle does. And that's where we're at, right? And that's why we want to find the truth, because the two people lost their lives, and someone should be held accountable for that, but it shouldn't be the person who wasn't driving. So
I'm gonna throw up a picture. I got a photo from Ripper.
uh-huh.
I'm gonna throw it up. There, and pop in there in a second. It's gonna show the X-rays, and it's gonna show a representation of where Nicole was injured. This is an exhibit. It's like exhibit 413. It looks like. So, blunt force trauma and abdominal intramuscular hematoma on 6/29/2012, and that left top one. I can zoom in here a little bit. There we go. That kind of zooms in and shows where her injuries were at, and then to the right of that, it shows how the passenger seatbelt would be hooked into that area. So I think that's pretty clear.
And the angle of the impact would cause that, because remember, the angle is on the left front more than the right front.
That's right. So gravity would have shoved her that way.
Because I have a question for Free Nicole Baukus. How do we know how tall Canvas Duran is? Because someone said that him and Nicole are the same size, and that and I'm just curious if he is a small man, because she's a tiny female.
They were close to the same height.
They were close, but were they both 100 pounds?
Well, I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
that would,
Okay.
you know.
All right. Because
Not
they said
much
that.
taller. He was a small man in every way, Ripper said.
Okay. All right. So, because somebody had said, I had come across it was an old discussion where they said that they were talking about where the seat, what position was, and I was just curious about that.
And before I turn this off, these bottom two looks like they're diagrams here, kind of, but it shows the left side of that hip area, and then if you go to the right of that, it shows where she was damaged, and it's still on that left side, which is again where the seatbelt would hook in. You look here again. Look here.
Yeah.
I don't know how they can see what they do, but these people are trained to read that kind of stuff. So anyway.
Yeah. Thank goodness they have these.
Oh yeah, I mean, it sounds like they've got a lot of everything that we need to look at, or at least as much as they can get. So thank you, Ripper. Appreciate that. And I will add this. I'll save this photo and I'll get it added to the video description, so we'll have it. I've got another video. This is the one I think that shows it shows how easy someone could jump from that bridge that you had sent me, Christina.
Uh-huh.
You want to show that one next?
Yeah.
Close this one.
Because it kind of, if you don't see it being done, it kind of looks impossible, right? But it's very easy for someone, especially a guy, to just hop down off of the freeway.
Okay.
Too high, I guess, and nothing around.
Mm-hmm.
I had thought that the Walmart was close by because I had heard that, but it wasn't. It was too far away. It wasn't like you could just run right into it.
And this says, here's a sequence of videos taken at the same location on the ramp going up and over Highway 242 at the same spot that Nicole's truck came to rest. As you will see, this is an easy fall for anyone that wants to do it. It's not like the 35 feet that many people like to claim it is. All right. And if you can see, we'll also see to the right there's more videos linked in there. Actually, that top one there is the one that Ripper talked about in his first video. That gives a really great summary. Anyway, here we go.
Here it goes.
Oh, that isn't far.
Not at all.
Not at all.
No. And it's in the middle of the night, right? So it's dark.
Yeah. Wow, that would have been easy to escape from.
Very.
Mm-hmm. Especially for
trees.
God.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no problem. Gone.
Yeah. See, now I was told it was a lot, it was like an overpass or something.
It is an overpass, but it's not as high as it, right? It looks, but
He just jumped for one tree after that, climbed down the tree.
Yeah, I just showed that.
Yeah, hold on. They're going to watch
him
do it. And see, you can't even see him. And this is during the day. See how easy that was?
Boom. Just come over, hang down, and let go. It's not that far at all.
Yeah.
And with the trees to cover you?
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you, you can't hang on pine tree limbs. They'll snap.
Yeah,
I know that. Yes. Yeah, they're camouflaging. Very much.
Look at that. There is a parking lot for the Walmart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because that's what the witness said. Remember the witness said? See, when they're having to lie to defend it, Linda, you know that they're wrong.
Oh yeah.
Right?
There's some still photos from the video. Oh yeah.
Yeah. When the defense is steady showing this is what happened, and their only comeback is to lie. Oh, the Walmart isn't near there. Oh, it's 35 feet. Oh, it's this, right? You know that they're not being honest about what happened. Yeah, see? And this is the same freeway. I live there. This is the same freeway that's been there for years. Well done.
It easily escaped that.
That's
It easily escaped that and went over to the parking lot or hidden the trees, went anywhere. I mean, there's trees for hiding. Even if it was 10 years ago, there's still going to be some kind of trees or bushes there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not as big, and then the parking lot, you could hide behind cars. It's dark out. If you just have dark clothing on, you're not injured, so to speak, like bleeding, nobody's going to pay attention to you.
Yeah, he could have just went over and got on a phone or borrowed someone's phone or whatever. Said, hey, I need to make a call. Call somebody to come get him and gone.
Yeah.
Now,
well,
does anyone know how far he lived from that region, that area?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but obviously they knew people in that area because the bar had closed at 2, but they were still in that area, right? So
it is the corruption and collusion
mm-hmm.
that we are having a hard time getting past in this case.
Yeah.
He lived 8 miles away.
He lived 8 miles away.
Yeah, canvassed, yeah.
Well, that's not undoable. I mean, he clearly wasn't injured. He was okay enough to get out of the vehicle and make his way. So,
They probably felt that this is just like, hey, closed case. The girl doesn't remember a damn thing. We're waking
yep,
her up and telling her she did all this. She's gonna go with it.
right.
I mean, because they're asking why would she say she plead guilty? Because she didn't remember. That's what I'm thinking. She didn't remember.
It was overwhelming. Because it was just too much.
I don't remember my accident at all to this day. I still don't. You can tell me about it all you want. It still doesn't jog my memory. I don't remember it at all.
No.
Sherry Lynn says, "Where is the douchebag?"
Yeah,
he's still in that area, as far as I know. I someone else can answer that one because I don't really know.
Ripper says, "Your adrenaline is off the charts. 8 miles is nothing." I suppose not.
He's right. Hey, he's right. When you're ramped up like that, probably knowing that you caused some serious injury and you're ripped. Oh yeah, and
elbow's gone.
well, and we can't forget to mention he already has some legal issues of his own. So I don't know what all trouble he had, but I do remember it being said that he did have his own problems to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So,
to me, this just really sounds like, corruption. It really does, because I mean, you can see, I mean, we're just looking at this just kind of like brand new, and we're looking at pictures and hearing this scenario, and it sounds every bit of her being a passenger. I mean,
Yeah.
her injuries are passenger injuries. Even the way they shoved her shoes in there, one of her foot, her other foot, her gas pedal foot would have been hurt. You know what I'm saying? Compared to the way the way they shoved it in there, it just doesn't. Him shutting off his body camera, her having both of her shoes on when she's taken out of the vehicle, her stuff being on the other side of the truck and not on the driver's side. To me, it's like straight up, just they just wanted to pin it on this chick.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it comes across as. It's again, I mentioned perception, and to me, I perceive this as being pin the tail on her, and she's it, and we're done.
Was he a possible drug dealer? I'm not sure. Do you know that if Campus was a drug dealer or had issues that way?
He has charges of possession and delivery, I believe, but no convictions. He's got several arrests and minimal, if any, convictions.
So he
Yeah, they were always pled down or some such nonsense, weren't they?
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Okay,
was this a plea deal? Do you know? Was this a plea deal she made, or did she just plead guilty and they went? I mean, they went to trial, or I don't know.
No, they went to trial. Oh, I'm sorry. You go ahead, Christine.
No, go ahead, Jax. Go ahead.
As I understand it, they went to trial, and during midway through the trial, what Ripper was talking about, for whatever reason, she decided to take the deal and plead guilty. Trial over, done.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we know how I feel about plea deals, so whatever. Yeah.
Don't even get me started.
So during her sentencing, she made this statement, "I should have died that night." So she was overwhelmed. 24 years old. They're talking about these two people that died. Tragic, horrific deaths. I mean, yes, it was instant, but that in the trial they were describing things that at 24 you've probably never even imagined, much less thought of, right? And
I want to clear this up because I said something wrong. I want to clear this up right now because Free Nicole says no deal, open plea.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she just wanted
it over.
Yeah.
That's all.
Didn't remember. Can you imagine? I mean, not remembering anything and then knowing two people died and They're just
Yes.
telling you how it went. I mean, I can only imagine, like you're saying, how it
Well,
went. Well,
and we
what
can't
did it
forget.
feel like?
I mean, I don't know her family, but I mean, this had to affect her family as well. So, right?
Yeah.
So she
For
probably
sure.
was thinking about that as well mentally. Sherry Lynn asks,
Sure.
why would the cop plant the evidence, need to find a connection there with the douchebag? Well, you know, that's why I asked the question last week when we were doing this. If there was any kind of connection with this canvas and anyone in authority, and that can go anywhere from, you know, a local cop to on up into the prosecutor's office or something. We just don't know. I don't know.
Like the cop that turned off his body cam? Maybe they were
Yeah,
friends.
maybe, or he knows the family.
I mean,
We just
he
He's
just gets
just
to
a
the
lead
scene.
cop.
I mean, he just gets to the scene and then he shuts it off. I mean, aren't you supposed to wear them to help you and
well,
stay
it's not a
clear
body.
of
It's
what
not a body
happened?
cam. It's not a body cam. Not a
Oh,
body cam.
it was his
Car
dash cam.
is dash cam. That's correct.
Okay, okay. Wow.
Free Nicole said it big time affected the family, and see, it always does. You know, you have a young adult in your family. I mean, I've got 5 grown children, basically grown children, 4. I mean, we don't have Kaylin, but I can tell you that if anything like that happened within my family, oh my God, everybody would be flipped upside down and inside out. So I get it.
Mhm. And you feel for the victims' families, even if, you know, even knowing Nicole isn't the driver, a compassionate human is going to feel guilt and is going to be
Sure.
emotional over the loss of life. Period.
Smart Duck asked a question: have either Nicole or the guy being accused ever been charged with a DUI before? Maybe go ahead.
No, Canvas definitely has a DWI. I remember reading that somewhere. I have read that Nicole has a history of this type of behavior, but I've never seen it anywhere where it says she's been convicted of anything. So hopefully Free Nicole can answer that. Because you know how
Rippers,
they say that of Steven as well. You know, he has a history of, but in
right?
reality, he has a history of being wrongfully convicted and nothing else, except for the Sandra Morris shit.
Well, he's got some dumb shit, on his record. But Ripper says on the
Yeah.
advice of her attorney, I believe she pled because the defense he put up got turned upside down during the trial, and I'd have to agree with that from what I listened to in Ripper's video. It's
Nicole
terrible.
had no prior charges of this type of behavior. Total BS.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
That's what I figured when I didn't see any actual charges listed. Free Nicole, I will message you. How should I message you the next time we do a podcast on her? Because she said she would have joined or I say she because the name is Free Nicole, but they would have joined if they had their headset and mic with them. They need a heads up. So
You can message her on our Discord. It's under that other name I told you.
And
Okay.
Canvas
I'll
had 32 prior arrests.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
It also says local media and people even reported her being a drunk on bond, even though she was unable to even go to a liquor establishment.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I believe that the 2 people who run the Montgomery County Reporter, one who is employed as a supervisor for the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department. What did they call it? Like the operations center. And the other, I believe his name is Sean Engel, who has made his YouTube channel kind of YouTube famous thanks to this case. I believe they have made their names on selling Nicole as a remorseless drunk party girl. And
Before Before it gets too far, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Christina, but Free Nicole says, who was talking, and that's when you were talking a minute ago, message me on Discord and I will get you a number to text. There you go.
Yeah.
So you can message her. I told you her name here on Discord.
Okay.
So
Yeah, she
I'm
also
not.
said she was perfect. Perfect bond.
There you go.
Yeah. And it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all. And Scott Ingle, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about Scott Ingle and his wife that just really rubbed me the wrong way. They remind me of the Guilters in the Stephen Avery case. They have made their name on selling a false narrative, and they're
Well,
going to keep selling it.
it's worse than that because they're attached to the police department. There's a huge conflict. There's a huge conflict of interest to me. I don't know about everybody else, but damn.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, and those kind of people don't like being wrong. They don't like being shown to be wrong. They don't like being shown to be, as fake as they are. So they're going to cling to Nicole is a remorseless party girl. I forget the way they phrased it. They called her a self-entitled, self-important drunk party girl.
Right.
And that's who she was at all. She was a young 24-year-old who, should she have been, I mean, there's things she could have done differently, but she was no different than any of us at that age, most likely. I mean, It's not like she had kids that she was leaving at home while she was going to the bars drinking.
Sherry Lynn asking.
Nicole says, she says, Scott Eagle even allowed the mother of one of the victims to post a plea to the public to write protest letters to the parole board.
See?
Yeah.
Before it gets away from us, Sherry Lynn asked a question. Are radio calls available? That I'm unaware of. I don't think so, and reports available. Beginning Friday, we're hoping we're going to begin putting documents in the foul play library. Nicole has her own section in the other cases part, so we can hopefully get those things loaded. I know that Zoe has been in contact with the lawyer or with Free Nicole to get that done. So there's a permanent hosting site.
Riddled with lies.
And just let Nicole know that there are people around the world who believe in her, and that we know that she's not what these people have tried to paint her to be. That I feel bad for her.
I always thought that Harris County was the worst, but you said they bordered each other, so.
Hey, Christina,
Birds.
Can I ask you who that Scott Eagle is? Is he the judge or
no?
Or what,
he is. They call themselves investigative reporters.
Okay.
But if you go back and look, I haven't done a lot of digging. I just did a little. If you go back and look, Scott Ingle's channel blew up thanks to this case. I think he has like 60,000 subscribers now. And they also now run a website called the Montgomery County Police Reporter. Okay. But if you Google his wife's name is Jamie Nash, and there's I had it last week to discuss. There is an article floating around online where the DA made a position for her to kind of put her on his payroll, which, that doesn't even make any sense. So to kind of advocate for him. So they call themselves reporters, but they're basically supporters and mouthpieces for corrupt DAs and police officers. And she's now a supervisor for the communications, the dispatch center for Montgomery County. And her husband runs this website and that YouTube channel.
220,000 subscribers.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. Oh, on the Montgomery Reporter site?
Yep.
That, yeah, and got there. And so they have made their name on this case. So imagine, how do you come back from that once they're exposed? And he was on the scene that night. He's the one that shot that video where the female state trooper lady named Nicole as the driver at the scene of the crash, right? So, but yet this woman also had witness statements at that time. So did he not talk to these witnesses? I mean, he's a reporter. I would have tried to interview them if
It'd be
I was
interesting
on.
to know if he had video that he hasn't shown.
There was a
Yeah.
witness that said she was in the passenger seat. They clearly, when they asked her, she clearly said campus right away, and campus, I don't remember if she said the name, but you could hear it very clearly. So, I mean, how is somebody going to name her to be that? They should have been looking for that person, the driver. They should have been looking. Did they even bother to look?
Smart Duck asked a
No.
question.
Wow.
No,
Smart Duck.
no, Linda. Go ahead. Sorry.
He said they said that she had Valium and another drug in her system. Were there any prescribed drugs, and had she taken them that day?
So, as far as I know, she only tested positive for Valium and alcohol. Alcohol, we know why. The Valium, I mean, did he slip that to her? Does she admit taking it? I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that state trooper, FYI.
Mm-hmm.
She's a convicted felon tampering with government documents. Angela Fontaine.
Fontaine or Fountain. That's no. Hold on. Let me write that name down.
Thanks for dropping by, Ripper. I know you got to roll, but really appreciate all the help, man. We're going to keep pushing.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to keep pushing and getting this case broadcast.
Angela Fountain, state trooper. And that
THC.
Inactive metabolites. Oh, THC.
Free Nicole says, FYI, that female state trooper is now a convicted felon for tampering with government documents. Angela Fountain. Wow. Jesus Christ.
And that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, you know, this is a woman who is at the scene of a crash where she has witnesses telling her that the woman you're going to announce as the driver wasn't the driver. So, I mean, and I don't know. I am still struggling with why no one has a problem with them getting her that drunk and letting her drive off.
Well, yeah. A lot of times bartenders are held liable, you know, and they'll cut people off at a certain point, and they should. You know, I hate to see anybody say, "Hey, no, you can't have anything else to drink." But when you've had 20 freaking drinks and a bunch of them are shots, you've had enough for a while. You know, you need to let that shit process. And Nosey's in the house. Hey, Nosey. Chicka chicka bow wow.
When I had my accident, did nobody try to stop me from drinking nothing? And I was so mashed. Don't remember nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I don't think they care. They just want the money, you know.
I think some do, but you know, I think you're right. Most of them probably don't.
I've always tried to be very observant. It's hard when you're busy bartending. It's hard, and Nosy can attest to that. To keep track how many drinks everyone has had, but I try and be really particular. I did, and my daughter is the same way, especially with females. When men are buying females drinks, you try and make sure that they're not intentionally getting them drunk to take advantage of them. So I don't know. It just bugs me. It really bothers me.
Yeah. Before I'm not sure when you're ready for me to move on to some of these interviews that Ripper showed, but any questions for anyone here? We've kind of been just yapping. Zoe and Jinx looks like Susan's here. Susan,
Can you hear me, Jack?
I can now.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the bar was sued and
I think you're right, Susan.
I think we lost Susan again. I didn't quite understand the question or the comment.
I know that they arrested Canvas for buying her the drinks, but I don't think anything came of that except for the arrest. I don't remember seeing anything about the bar being sued.
Yeah, the
I
bar-
heard
the
they
bar
were.
did.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it was. Yeah.
You're correct, Susan.
And they got a judgment.
Oh,
Yep.
good. Good.
Okay.
But yeah,
See,
Jack,
she was well established drunk before she met up with the guys at the end. She was way drunk before that. So
Oh,
I think
Nicole says the bar was sued and paid $1 million of the three families total. It was settled about 2 months before Nicole's trial. Wow.
Nosy says Texas. Yeah, in Texas, the max is 3 shots. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, if there's no more questions, yeah, we can play some of Ripper's video. Definitely.
Okay, that's going to pop in here, and there are several of these, and we'll play some clips and let everyone just listen to what these people are saying, and because some of these people, I mean, they know what they're talking about. So this first one is David Delonga. He's an MD, Ph.D. He's a medical doctor and a mechanical engineer, and he describes. Well, I'll just let him talk. And so anyone here's anyone here's in Discord, you're probably got to unmute YouTube to hear this. So here we go.
Audio recordings, read transcripts / affidavits and things like that, and come up with a theory. It's one thing for us to do it because we're armchair detectives and we are certified by the Global Federation of Armchair Detectives. So that means we're really good.
I had to get that
Some
part
of you
in
don't
there.
understand that, but anyway, this guy, well, I'll let you listen to his qualifications. Let me make sure you can hear it first.
Specific issue, and that was
Back here.
I was asked to look at.
All right, can you guys hear that? I just want to make sure you guys can hear it before I play it. All right, you guys can hear it. Great. All right, so let me start it over. This one is 50 seconds long.
I was asked to look at a specific issue, and that was she the driver or was she the right front passenger during a fatal crash? I found when I reviewed the medical records and the radiological studies that she had 2 injuries that were relevant. Number one, she had a injury to a muscle called the left internal oblique muscle, which is down in the left lower quadrant of the abdomen around where the hip bone is.
All right, you all remember last week when we were looking at the picture of the injury. If you weren't here, go back and watch. I think it was one of the first things we looked at. But you remember there was a medical report from that injury that was taken within hours of the wreck or that night. But it was that night. That's what he's talking about right here, which for us to see it and talk about it is one thing. But for this guy to do it, pretty convincing to me.
She also had multiple fractures to her left foot, specifically to her third through fifth metatarsal bones, which are the long bones that are immediately in front of the toes. In addition to the injuries that I saw demonstrated on the radiological studies and in the medical records, there was also a notable lack of injury that would typically be caused by an airbag deployment. And in Ms. Baukus's vehicle, only the airbag on the driver's side had deployed. This typically leaves some evidence of interaction with the occupant, and that can be a transfer of DNA, it can be bodily fluids on the airbag itself. It can also lead to injuries to the occupant, and those are things like facial fractures, contusions, injury to the neck or to the chest from the deployment of the airbag. In this particular case, notably, all of those were absent. So the fact that the injury to her lower abdomen was on the left side was most consistent with the presence of the buckle being on the left side, which was more supportive of her being in the right front passenger seat. In summary, after my analysis of the medical, the engineering data, and the other pieces of data provided by witnesses, my conclusion was that Ms. Baukus was seated in the right front passenger seat at the time of the accident. And I reached these conclusions based on a reasonable degree of both medical and engineering certainty. I was asked to look at a specific.
There we go. Pretty powerful evidence to me.
Yeah, I agree. It's when you just start adding it up, it's everything shows that she wasn't the driver, right? And nothing shows that she was. I mean, yes, on the surface, we have a video of her leaving the bar, but the accident didn't happen right after she left the bar. I think she left the bar at 2:03 in the morning, and the accident happened at 3:06. You have witnesses stating she wasn't the driver. You have Officer Rubus's, however you say his name, showing up on the scene, and she has shoes on her feet. Yet those are what the prosecutor uses because they end up wedged under the gas pedal. That is proof that she was driving. Yeah, it's. I'm still kind of shell shocked that.
I want to know how you get your sock off.
Yeah.
How does your sock come off in the accident, right?
Yeah.
And the way they were wedged, it was really, really shady looking.
I'm guessing it
would
was
have
already
hurt your right foot. Your right foot would have been injured, and not your left foot. The way they had that in there, like it turned sideways and it was under there, so your foot would have had to turn, jacked your ankle or something, your knee maybe even, from the steering wheel and whatnot, and the seatbelt itself. That right there just kind of floors it for me. So I just don't even understand how they got away with it. It was an accident. Was that 3 or 2:59 maybe? No, Free Nicole says.
Yeah, it's really sketchy. Now this next clip I've got is a witness, and he gives some pretty powerful evidence himself. Let me get over here too. Okay, got that. Okay. This next guy, like I said, he is a witness, and I may break his up. I think his is a little bit longer than that last guy, the doctor. So let's listen to Ripper let this guy describe what he saw. Here we go.
Good idea if it hasn't been done. All right, let me get this next video. Sound. All right, this is the guy that was driving down the road. He saw the truck parked on the shoulder, and then Canvas pulled right out in front of him, and they just, this is the guy that said he could have reached out and touched the mirror.
But the key points of what I seen was this girl wasn't driving. This other girl was missing a limb. And there was somebody else somewhere that we were looking for, me and the fireman. Somebody else there said that they seen somebody.
I'm going to play that again. Him and the firemen are looking for someone else there.
And there was somebody else somewhere that we were looking for, me and the fireman. This other girl was missing. This girl wasn't driving. This other girl was missing a limb. And there was somebody else somewhere that we were looking for, me and the fireman. Somebody else.
When he's talking about the girl missing a limb in the Chevrolet, the smaller car that was hit, there was an arm missing off the person, and him and the firemen were actually out looking for that limb. But in that process, they were also looking for the driver of the truck, which was not Nicole.
Of what I seen was this girl wasn't driving. This other girl was missing a limb. And there was somebody else somewhere that we were looking for, me and the fireman. Somebody else there said that they seen somebody run across. So I'm processing all this, and I'm just like, man, this ain't good. I was like, I know what I seen. And then, at first, when I told the cops there that she wasn't driving, it was like, it's no way possible. But the angle that I had, you could clearly see in the vehicle. A lot of people didn't believe me at first, but it's true. The angle with my truck sitting up so high, looking down at that spacing we had is a perfect clear view. Because if it was the driver, it would have been right beside me. This girl was all the way across the truck. And it's just, I don't know, it's tough what happened, but from my perspective and what I seen, she was in the passenger seat.
I'm going to pause it right there.
That's pretty powerful.
That's really powerful. He's right there, and he could literally see who was in that truck and in the other car that was hurt.
And more importantly, a fireman also was helping them to look, and an officer. So very quickly, they decided to not go with, let's find the other driver, and we're just
except for the fireman and this guy here, Buchannan.
Yep. And I believe there's a vet, a military veteran also, who was a witness. If I remember it from one of Ripper's videos, that they all three kind of tried to figure out how the person would have escaped. Wow, I hadn't seen that before.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, that's Buchanan. It's crazy. I told you these interviews are just like gold.
So, is Free Nicole still with us? So
Um,
so I Googled Ernest Buchanan, and it looks like he was arrested but not charged with, not convicted of something in 2018 in Montgomery County. I'm wondering if they're not harassing him now because he's trying to tell the truth.
I don't know. Free
Yeah.
Nicole says there were 2 vets there. Buchanan was an ex-Marine, and Hampshire was also military.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Buchanan has his own church he runs. I believe him 100%. So do I. Yeah.
Yeah. River actually talked about that in his video. That the guy runs a church, and he just he doesn't have any. There's nothing in it for him to lie. He has no. So it's kind of like I was talking about a minute ago. With this website and all this other stuff these other people are doing, they're connected to the police department. It's a huge conflict of interest to me, and I honestly don't see how. I don't know. I guess each state's different as to what police officers can and should and can do. I don't know. I have a real hard time with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it's convenient and helpful for DAs and the police to have reporters in their back pocket. So, I mean, it doesn't do much for justice and the truth when you're corrupt.
Yeah.
But, it hasn't stopped, as we know. Any of us who've been in the wrongful conviction world for any length of time, unfortunately, these cases are everywhere. They really are. And if we don't talk about them, these innocent people will just sit in prison wrongfully convicted, and the person really responsible is out harming others, and that bothers me more than anything.
I agree.
The state of Wisconsin didn't learn a damn thing from Stephen Avery's wrongful conviction in 1985.
Oh, I think they did. I think they learned how to perfect it.
Yeah. Well, they let Gregory Allen stay out that extra 10 years, and he harmed many women because of that.
He sure did.
And they did it again in 2005 with Stephen and Brendan. Whoever really harmed Teresa is still free. And whoever caused this accident and allowed Nicole to take the rap for it is still free. And someone who's willing to do that has harmed others since then, because that's just wrong.
Yep, I agree.
And cops who are willing to frame an innocent woman being allowed to still be cops is just wrong. So it's a lot for sure. Anybody else got anything to say about that? I'm just trying to see the chat.
Yeah, Free Nicole says sad thing about this case is that the corrupt DAs are working overtime to cover up the corruption rather than to investigate the case properly. DA will never admit they got it wrong, and that's unfortunate. A lot of DAs won't. They'll go to their graves, or they'll say, talking about the unindicted co-conspirator. When somebody gets freed on DNA, oh well, you were there. You had somebody else with you. You were still there though. We can't prove that. It's crazy. This next clip is from Robert Bejamin, or however you say his name, Ph.D. This guy's got credentials out the wazoo. What he's got to say is really interesting as well. So if you're ready, I want to go ahead and play this clip.
Oh yeah.
My degrees, I have an undergraduate degree in biology from Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland. I have a Ph.D. also in biology from Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Now, based on the results of the Bodie Cellmark lab from the YSTR testing, a prosecutor saying that there was no comparable profile for any male on any of the evidence items collected in that truck is simply patently wrong. Were you to have a bloody sock outside the car and then transfer it back into the car, I might say toss it. Anything that it would make contact with would now have very likely a substantial, very easily genetically profilable amount of her DNA that was deposited there as a result of the reintroduction of the sock into the car, not because it was deposited from her directly. So we'll say at the time of the wreck. It would be just, I tossed it in there, it bounced against this object, and again, with a bloody sock, you can expect almost a smear, but I mean, small amounts would be undeniably of no relevance anymore. You would actually have to be able to show that that had gotten there prior to the sock being introduced back into the car. Now we go back as how did it get on that airbag? And might this explain, for example, the fact that it's blood when it's not obvious why you would have blood there? And two, it doesn't seem to be in a location that would be because you were there at the time, at the exact moment the airbag deployed, right in front of it. It's off to the side and low, and it's blood, and there's nothing bleeding over there. And now we have a very easy explanation. It transferred there from something else. We even have the source, the sock.
I think that's very telling.
Yeah. Now, what's he explaining? The DNA on the airbag?
Yeah, he's talking about that because there's DNA on the lower, I don't know if it's the left or right side of that airbag. And how did it get there?
Yeah, I think it's on the lower right. And yeah, I mean, that explains
About
it.
4 o'clock.
So,
is the still available to be tested again?
I think so. I just Susan just told her about Free Nicole about the MVAC, which is a great thing, really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, that MVAC is the bomb. I don't know. So, they can pull DNA with that thing. It's like crazy. Looks like we have a bot in the chat. Darkside took care of that though. Thank you, Darkside.
Yeah, you have to report that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just seen that. We got a troll.
Yeah, I'm reporting it right now.
Okay. Now I have a question. I wanted to view what the message was. That doesn't unblock it, right? That just shows me what it says.
I don't know.
Oh,
I really haven't fooled with YouTube enough to really understand that part of it.
It just shows you what it says.
Okay,
to
thank
unblock
you.
it, you have to go to the dots and unblock.
And Free Nicole also corrected me. The guy's name is Bejamin. I didn't see the N in there. If it's there, I missed it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He's definitely a very well educated and reputable source. Because Johns Hopkins University is a very prestigious school.
Oh yeah, that guy's got credentials from here to hell and back. He's well qualified to talk about that case.
Share the message.
Okay. This next clip, I'm going to go and get it loaded while you're doing that. It's another witness. I can't remember her name. I think it flashes up though.
So
Okay. We ready for the next clip of this next witness?
Yes.
Okay. All right, here we go.
So I do remember my conversation with Andrew James. Basically, he wanted me and Ernest to.
Now, remember Andrew James, prosecutor.
With Andrew James. Basically, he wanted me and Ernest to disagree about what we saw inside of the truck the night of the accident. So I do remember that Andrew, whenever we were discussing about what was seen inside of the vehicle, he was very adamant about me. He did not want me to say that I agreed with Jay about him seeing a female as a passenger in the truck. Basically, he wanted me to tell the jury what he wanted us to have contradicting statements, really.
Interesting.
I'm gonna play that again. I watched these last night.
Coaching.
I watched them this morning.
Go ahead, Linda. I'm sorry.
I just find it totally ridiculous that this prosecutor.
I just missed who it was at the beginning.
It doesn't play at the beginning. Her name is Keely something. Free Nicole probably knows her last name.
Was she the driver of the other car that's seen her, or just somebody that happened to be by the accident?
She didn't say. She's just talking about basically
I think she might have. Yeah, I think she might have been Arnessa's passenger. Actually,
okay, thank you.
Was that right?
I don't know that. I just know that she's talking about that the prosecutor wanted them to disagree on what they saw. But why would he do that? Oh man.
Yeah. I think Ken Kratz calls that massaging the witness.
Or coaching.
Yeah.
Well, Nicole says that Andrew James told Bachman that he could not testify he saw Nicole in the passenger seat, and then asked McKay to lie also to disagree with
Buchanan.
Or Buchanan. No.
Yeah.
Buchanan? Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think his name is Arnest Buchanan.
Yeah, it is. I don't know where I was getting the Buckman from. But,
Hi, y'all.
Hi, Nosy.
Hey, Nosy. I'm going to play this little section here. Ripper's going to play it again.
Okay.
Of what this girl says.
Is trying to tell these witnesses how to testify. He's like trying to alter their testimony.
So I do remember my conversation with Andrew James. Basically, he wanted me and Ernest to disagree about what we saw inside of the truck the night of the accident. So I do remember that Andrew, whenever we were discussing about what was seen inside of the vehicle, he was very adamant about me. He did not want me to say that I agreed with Jay about him seeing a female as a passenger in the truck. Basically, he wanted me to tell the jury what he wanted us to have contradicting statements, really.
Now, isn't that telling?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty, I mean, even as just a witness, she could file a complaint on him for that, you know? Like, just as a citizen in general, like, that's just
Absolutely.
can't do that.
Absolutely.
Like, I would I would
trial?
sue somebody. I would sue any prosecutor that literally sat there and tried to force me to, you know.
Trial?
Huh?
Couldn't you get a new trial? That's tampering with the witness.
I mean, it could. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it depends on who's going to push it, who's going to make the complaints and file it. But
she's making a statement publicly, so I mean that's tampering with the witness.
yeah, I mean, and witness intimidation too, because they could have.
Got Ryan Ferguson off on because that guy was in there telling him what to do and say.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean,
Yeah, that just
this,
seems. Mhm.
oh, it's just sketchy as hell.
When you're having to have a witness tell a different story than what happened to get your conviction, then you're not seeking justice. You're seeking a conviction, right?
Right, because
Right.
big cases like this, your conviction rate increases your salary. So, I mean, you get
Sure.
the attorneys like Kratz and this person, and they don't give a shit about the actual justice. They just need that high conviction rate so they can rank up.
Yeah, I was looking into Andrew James, and I haven't, I don't know a lot about him, but I came across something, and his salary, I think in 2019 was $127,000 because
Yep.
he's an ADA, and also Montgomery County has a public integrity unit. I
Yep.
believe the woman in charge of that, her first name is Darla. And I'm curious if she is an ethical DA or if she's as corrupt as the rest. Because what's the point of having an integrity unit if you're staffing it with corrupt DAs?
We need to do like go into newspaper clippings and just paper trail them all and see if we find any links back together. That's how we found, or I say we, but Jinxie, of course, but that's how she found a couple of things in that Manitowoc group just in the last day or so, is
Well,
using those newspapers.
he's in the DA's office now, Andrew James.
Yeah.
Free
And
Nicole.
honestly, that salary that's not a very high salary for like a prosecuting attorney for the state. I mean, I don't think that's very high compared to the lawyers that I know.
The Free Nicole says a new trial. County brought Judge Keeshan out of retirement to shut the writ down. Keeshan sent Clarence Bradley to death row as a DA in the 80s. Bradley was exonerated later.
Yep.
Jeez.
I read a little. And
Also, just FYI, it's not an odd thing to bring a judge out of retirement to do that type of stuff, especially down in that or in that area. I don't know if it's like a Texas thing or a what thing, but that's exactly what they did in the Rodney Reed case. And the same judge that signed Larry Swearingen's death date and his death warrant, he technically did not have an oath of office filed at that time, which means he basically gave them permission to commit murder and it was not legal. And that same judge is the one that gave Rodney his first execution date, first and second actually.
Wow.
Yep,
and
and
that
he was just an old retired during one of the trials. Thank you. He fell asleep on the bench during the trial.
My God. That's terrible.
Yeah, it's like, aren't you retired for a reason? Because you're like 100 or something.
Yeah. Why aren't you out like doing nothing, sipping, a mint julep or something?
yeah, playing
Oh my
croquet.
God, how old school.
And I just want to say that salary is 4 years ago. I'm sure it's higher than that.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gone up since then for sure.
Yeah. So I'm sure it's probably like 160, 170 now. And from what I'm reading, they have all kinds of extras that they do on top of that. So um, yeah.
This next clip I've got from Ripper is from a guy. I'm pretty sure he's retired, but his name is Robin Wright, and he worked for the Texas Department of Safety. I think it's in Reconstruction. What he has to say is really interesting too. Actually, these next two are really good. If you guys are ready.
I am everyone else.
Well, I guess I should turn it on so everyone can see it and hear it. There we go.
Free Nicole says make her able to send links. Can you just put them into Discord? Because we can't even do that from here right now.
What kind of links?
I don't know. She says she has links to send if she was able to send them on here, but that are
She can put them in she can put them in our Discord chat. Somebody tag her in the CTE text or CTE room text room. She can drop links there, and I should be able to pull them if there's something she wants to get out here.
What's her name in Discord? I forgot.
Marley. All right, I'm going to play this next clip from Ripper for this guy that's Robin Wright.
I just tagged her.
These videos are great.
You beat me.
They're great for getting me mad.
Ms. Baukus' injuries were not consistent with being the driver of a motor vehicle. The angular nature of the collision would dictate that she would hit the driver's side airbag or go to the left side of the driver airbag and receive a head injury, which she did not have. In addition, she had no dust from the airbag on her. She had no resin from the airbag system on her. Of course, the driver's side airbag did deploy, so I would have expected to have found those type of injuries on her. Her injury was limited to her foot, which could have easily occurred in the passenger seat. We see drivers flee the scene of a crash quite often. It seems to be more often in later times than it used to be. But this was a very survivable crash on the part of the driver. This was a less than 40-mile-an-hour crash. And the driver had more than enough time to get out and flee the scene. I do not think that justice was served in this case. I don't think that the driver was properly identified, and it haunts me that we may have an innocent person spending time in the penitentiary for an offense that she did not commit.
I think that was a very. Go ahead.
I did not know that. See, Free Nicole just said that Andrew James is now at the Dallas County DA's office. Do you know what that means? He's working side by side with what's his name on the Darlie Routier case.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
I have super easy access to him there. Interesting. I did not know that. Okay. I've got some friends there.
Say that again. Who was it?
Andrew James is now at the Dallas County DA's office, which is the same office that's handling the Darlie Routier case.
Really? That
It is the guy that so the Dallas County's district attorney's office, they actually have their own private investigator, like they hired him. And he's actually in charge of the conviction integrity unit here in Dallas. And he is the one person that actually has the physical evidence in Darlie's case.
Jax, she sent that document.
Okay.
The state, it's a plea agreement in order.
Okay.
Did Nicole join Discord? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I got it. I'll get that after we get this last clip later in a minute. I want to talk about this other one though first. Of this state reconstructionist, this wreck reconstructionist, and he talked about there was no airbag residue on Nicole, and you're gonna have it. Those things they're loaded with some kind of, I can't remember the name of the powder. It's a special powder, and if she would have had some on her, she had makeup on. It would have stuck to that makeup too. And she didn't have any. That tells you right there she wasn't over there.
And that makes me wonder, like, why didn't, oh my God, why didn't
Canvas?
Oh, we lost Nosy.
Yeah, we lost her.
It's the record of that Angela Fontaine or Fountain.
He's sorry, I got a phone call. He's not gonna run away from a car wreck thinking, oh, I gotta go wash these clothes, I've got airbag dust on me. They could have done a proper investigation and found him and been like, where's the outfit you wore last night or the night before?
Yeah.
I bet you there would have been dust on those clothes.
I bet you're right.
If the truck is still available and if MVAC could be done, his DNA would be found. I think. I feel confident in that.
If it's been protected, I mean, you know, and not exposed to the elements, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll try to.
Wow. See how they're all connected? So the DA in this case is now working to keep Darlie in prison. That is crazy.
Isn't it?
Well, I don't think he's the DA on her case. Is he?
I don't know.
No, he's not.
Okay.
No, he's not. No.
No, this is because Darlie's case is like Ken Paxton is personally taking on her fucking case. So, I mean, I'm not saying literal, but like that case is going to be very close to him.
Okay.
The truck being out in the elements, it really doesn't matter. This MVAC can take things. It is specially, I mean, for like rocks, to take DNA off of a rock. Check into it, believe me.
I've asked twice in the Darlie group because I know that the evidence is actually being sent to California. And I asked them in the group, I said, are y'all making sure that y'all send it to a lab where they're going to use the MVAC testing? And nobody had a fucking clue.
Oh, gosh.
They need to find out because they can pull freaking DNA off a branch.
They are doing it in the West Memphis 3 case because they found the ligatures, and that's what they're using that for. So
yeah,
they found all the evidence in the West Memphis 3 case, and they said it was lost, but they found it all.
Yes. Thank you. And that's how old now? 30 years.
Oh yeah.
And they said they can still get, they'll still be able to get very good DNA off of it if there's any on there.
Absolutely.
Submerged into water, and you still can do it. So I think that anybody who's getting any DNA tested should use that MVAC. It is the best thing that's there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say it's a very powerful forensic tool.
Absolutely.
Especially out of fabric, or fabric and hard porous surfaces. That's what they say. It's really good to get even the small. You can get the smallest pieces off, or amount.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this last clip I'm going to play from Ripper, the interviews, is from David Pearson, and he's a retired Harris County police officer. It tells. Interesting what he's got to say, too. So let's get that out of the way. Here we go.
I put a video together, a short video with some clips of these things and the animation. I want to do when Arness was talking in his video and he's describing what he saw. I would like to have that go along with the animation that we have showing, what he saw. So I would like to put some of that stuff together and make a short video that we can really use to make some loud noise to national media, because national media needs to get a hold of this thing and we need to expose these people.
So ultimately, my opinion, based on the lack of injuries or expected injuries one would have from different positions in this vehicle, my opinion is that she would not have been seated in the driver's seat because of the lack of injuries she has that she would have had, and was seated in the passenger seat. I've investigated many crashes and been involved in many crashes where drivers who are the cause of the crash flee the scene. We have cases to where we've investigated, and immediately after the crash we'll have witnesses run over to the vehicle and find that there's not even anybody inside the vehicle. The driver's already fled in that short period of time. And I've talked about in this case how I feel that Nicole Baukus, in my opinion, was not the driver of the motor vehicle when this crash occurred.
That's pretty powerful coming from this guy. There we go. Well, I'm going to pull up this. Comments before I pull this other thing up. This link that Free Nicole sent.
No. I think it's interesting that a Harris County officer is going on record saying he doesn't think.
Isn't it?
Well, that's like in Daniel's case. There are a lot of police officers that back Daniel, like a lot. I mean, and they can't come out and speak outright on it because they're still active duty police officers. But there are a lot of officers that stand behind Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
That's so sad.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that.
Yeah. Free Nicole says DNA in this case will never be reliable since the DA has all of the evidence and could have done anything with it, including. Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say the same thing in Rodney's case, Daniel's case, Stephen's case,
Yep.
all of them.
Including smearing Nicole's DNA on anything they have in the evidence since they have her DNA. She also says David Pearson became our witness because one of the trial prosecutors wanted him to look at it. He agreed. She was the passenger, and now they do not use him on cases any longer. Wow.
That surprised me. So yeah, they're going to put Nicole's DNA everywhere, but they still couldn't explain if Canvas's DNA was found there, right?
That's what I was just going to say. They could always add DNA to anything, but they can't go and pick and choose whose DNA they want to take off. That's where the state got fucked with Stephen's case.
Wait a minute,
you know?
Stephen did that.
That's what I'm saying. It's so much alike. It's so common, and people just don't realize it.
I mean, short of them going and sanitizing that entire truck, yeah.
Oh, if there was an accident, you can bet that there was a lot of DNA flying around there. Your hair, I mean, you're rubbing on things. He's trying to get off of there. He's scraping himself, I'm sure. You know what I mean?
His saliva.
And they tested none of it.
Yeah, of course not.
Oh.
They lost the airbag.
Yeah, Free Nicole says they lost the airbag on the record.
That should be fucking illegal. That should be illegal, and they should be charged for that.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
Things, and we are definitely not agreeing with you, Free Nicole, at all, because we don't know this case, so we're discussing things and trying to think of ways to help you help her, for sure. But when these things start happening, in our experience, and none of us are lawyers, but from what we have seen, when they start losing evidence that is key to helping to exonerate the defendant, then that goes more to help the defendant, right? Because in the Stephen case, they lost the zipper voicemail. They lost the dispatch calls from the Ford. They lost, what else have they lost?
Oh my God.
And how is it just legal to just fucking be irresponsible over evidence that when someone has the right to appeals? And I don't know, this was a point that got brought up yesterday, I think. But, you know, in Stephen's case, Wisconsin has their own statute or their own law regarding biological evidence, right? And that's why Judge Willis said, you know, you can't touch it until he dies or he's exonerated. I don't know what Texas law is on biological evidence. I don't know the code, and I don't know what the actual law is. I don't know if it applies in every case, if it's only state, federal, or how it works. But I was wondering if any such law, because they have lost evidence of hers, if any such law in Texas would apply to her. like regarding that, if that makes sense.
I'd almost bet that they have some statute, Nosy, because that's such a huge thing when you think about it overall throughout any state, really.
It's 97. What is it in? I was gonna say 97406. Is it? Is that what it is in Wisconsin?
No, it's not.
It's
160,
oh my God.
167 or 168, or I don't remember.
I read it yesterday. I'll find it and send it to you. But it's it's on a post that I did in that Manitowoc. It's on that thread in the Manitowoc group with like 700 comments.
Oh, Free Nicole says Texas has preservation times depending on the crimes. For this one, they have to keep it forever. So yeah, good call, Nosy.
There you go.
Why wouldn't, if that's
also
true and
says
that's
that
the
the
law, then
DNA
why wouldn't it be a fucking Brady violation? I know Texas doesn't have technical Brady, but we have Brady like. You know what I mean? Like that should be grounds for a new trial if you lose the freaking evidence.
And I think she filed on that too. I think Nicole's her post conviction motion lists like that the behavior of the DA and the officers as part of I think that's listed in there. I haven't read the whole thing, but I know that they have an IAC claim. And this is she says Brady is applicable in the whole US. It is a SCOTUS case.
Oh.
So,
what am I
Oh yeah,
thinking
Brady's federal.
Oh, you know what? I think I'm thinking of when Zellner references Youngblood. No, maybe that. I don't know what the fuck I'm thinking of. I thought it was just called something different.
They all have their different preservation statute. Oh, I see what you're talking about. They all have different.
Yeah.
You're not talking about what I'm talking about.
I just didn't know if it was called Brady everywhere, but it being a SCOTUS case, that makes a whole lot more sense.
Absolutely.
Nicole also says that the DA has all of the evidence and they can wipe it off and rub her DNA all over it if they want to.
Maybe I should just drive down there and be like, can I fill out a FOIA for this shit?
There you go.
Brady versus Maryland is what she's stating.
And you can get that in Texas. You can just walk in and get that without or very little charge, right? If you go there.
Yeah, actually, in Texas, I found out when I was down at the courthouse doing the Danita Tutt case, you can go in there and pull up any record, and you're allowed to videotape, take pictures, record, whatever you want to do. Like, so you don't have to pay for the documents.
Can you take a thumb? Can you take a thumb drive with you and just copy it?
I mean, we didn't do that whenever I was looking at Danita case, but if I go in there for this one, I will.
That would be excellent because you'd have a digital record and everything would transfer.
Speaking of Nosy, when you have a minute, check your messages on TikTok. I sent you another Texas case this morning.
Oh, I saw that one. I had already seen those videos. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it is. I'm like blown away by that.
She got shot, her leg was amputated, and then she got her baby taken, and the baby was given back to the guy that shot her.
And get this, and she had went before the judge trying to get a restraining order.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Denied the restraining order, then took her kid from her because her husband came and shot her. She can't protect her kids.
Yeah, because she was shot, she can't protect herself, so they took her kid. It's not funny, but
a restraining order. It's not funny at all. It's not funny, but it's
so
like
fucked up.
The mentality is just what? And it's a Texas DCF case. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's funny is that specific case. My good friend is the child crime detective or whatever in that town. So I haven't reached out to her yet to ask her about it, but I'm very curious about it. Yeah, she's she works with CPS and all that shit, and she knows how I feel about it.
Neither the woman nor the baby tested positive for drugs.
Right.
Clean.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty messed up. I do need to remember to message her today and ask her about that because that is in her territory.
Yeah.
You can copy it on a thumb drive and save charges, she said.
I don't know how much she can actually tell me, but she might be able to tell me something.
Mm-hmm.
So this last thing I got up here that I'm going to show, this is the trooper that Free Nicole dropped us the document link for Angela Fountain. Plea agreement and order. The defendant hereby agrees to plead guilty to the following offense of tampering with a government record. In exchange, the state of Texas agrees to the recommended punishment to be assessed at 365 days in jail, probated for 2 years, or sentenced to blah, 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 with no early termination and waive any right to judicial clemency. Leah's letter of an apology and resign her whatever Nicole license, whatever that is, $4,000 fine. Ooh. There you go. Anyway.
Question: since Andrew is not even working in the county anymore, like, what does he care? Why would it matter? Like, he doesn't have the evidence, does he? Just the county has it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the prosecution's office.
Mm-hmm.
Who took his place? Who's in his position now?
Yeah, I thought he was the DA, so I didn't know he had moved. So who the new DA is on this case?
Texas Commission of Law Enforcement. I've never heard of that. I mean, not that way.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole says TCOL equals Texas Commission of Law Enforcement. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, that's probably the licensing board for law enforcement officers.
Yeah.
He could get disbarred.
If Andrew James admits to wrongdoing, he could get disbarred. Free Nicole.
Well, what about filing complaints to the actual bar about his conduct, especially when you've got these two witnesses that were like, yeah, he didn't want to use our statement because we wouldn't flip it or, say what he said. I mean, has anyone ever made a complaint to the bar association? I bet we could look that up.
Yeah.
Probably.
I have so many questions. I'm sorry, y'all.
No, you're fine. The problem with the bar is it's run by these people, right? So, yes, we can make a complaint, but will it be? I mean, look at how the OLR handled Kratz. It wasn't until it was exposed that they actually did anything for him. Sexually
already done. They made him respond, but they did not hold him accountable.
Of course not.
See?
Of course not.
So, and
the OLR is just a big old lawyers club, and they're going to protect each other the best they can.
Well, they didn't. They weren't playing no games with Kratz when me and what's his name turned him in. They made him take his stuff off of social media that day.
Boom.
Y'all remember when he was on his Facebook page? It said that he was still an attorney and he had his website up and all that stuff.
Yep.
Well,
and he wasn't.
That little local reporter guy, Michael Leon or whatever his name is, Michael Leon or whatever. Him and I got together and we wrote a letter to OLR and told them that he was out here false advertising, and that's kind of when Kratz started to vanish. Like, he had to take it off of Facebook, he had to take it off of Twitter, he had to take everything off there that he was an attorney.
Wow.
Now, so you may know this. He is not disbarred.
He's not.
Renew his license, right?
Yeah. They gotta pay a year. I think they gotta pay a yearly fee in Wisconsin, probably most states.
That he has an active.
He's not active. He's not active.
Yeah.
But he's not disbarred either. He can get his bar card back.
Right.
Okay.
He never even. Yeah. No, he didn't get disbarred because remember he was going to be a defense attorney.
Yeah.
And he never even had one client. Anyway, Free Nicole Baukus said that he made some damaging admissions in his response that will be used later. So that's great news.
Yes, it is.
It's the DA on Nicole's case now.
I don't know that one. I guess I could have looked on the filings that I read.
Free
I
Nicole
thought
probably
it was
knows.
Andrew James.
Well, I had read those, and then Jay Jackson, we got the ones for Daniel's stuff back to back to back, and I've been reading those. So my brain is mush when it comes to emotions.
Uh-huh.
Like mush.
Yeah, it's hard to keep what wrongdoing happened in what case straight, right?
It really is. Like I pulled back from Rodney because I went to the hearing, we got the response, and now we're waiting for the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals to respond if he's going to get a new trial or not. So I don't really do anything there until that picks back up again. Once that picks back up, and then I'll jump all over it again. But when it's downtime, like I have to case hop.
All right, so it's Amy Waddle.
Amy Waddle.
That's the DA.
Okay, let me write that down.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to find out a little about her. It's a chick, too.
Assessment.
Amy Waddle. She sounds young.
Yeah.
Amy Waddle. Attorney.
Is Brett Ligon or Ligon. Waddle is the ADA on the case. Okay. And then the judge is the judge they brought back out of retirement. See, so the judge who sentenced Nicole is disbarred, or not disbarred. He resigned from judgeship. He now is a private attorney in private practice. And she said Waddle has lied in pleadings and will get a bar complaint as well. Good, as she should. So we have a state trooper who is no longer a state trooper. We have a judge who had to resign as a judge, and we have her defense attorney at the time of the trial was a frigging bump on the log for all he did. Oh, she does whatever the DA tells her to do. Okay. And the person who works in the public integrity unit, who's in charge of that, her name is Darla, and I forget the last name, is basically a mouthpiece for the elected DA. So you're not going to get help from that office.
Has there been any what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say appeals because that's going to revert back to court. Thank you. But any
petition?
Any push towards Governor Abbott, like getting him involved and getting his attention. Has there been anything like that?
I think they're letting this appeal play out. Darla Faulkner, that's her name. There is no conviction integrity unit.
Yeah, that's here up in Dallas.
It's called Public Integrity Unit in Montgomery.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it
can be very different.
I think it needs some work if she's just a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
So no integrity in
Montgomery County.
Thank you.
Yes.
Wait, am I on mute? Can y'all hear me or no?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Of course we hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm at a restaurant eating, of course, like I always am when I'm talking to you people.
Mm-hmm. And Free Nicole says that Governor Abbott, they have not appealed to him yet. He will do nothing as he has presidential aspirations. See, and this bugs me to no end.
That's funny.
Wrongfully convicted inmates should be something someone who aspires to be a president should want to do.
Yeah, Greg Abbott will never be the fucking president of this country.
No.
That will never happen. He's barely going to get reelected as governor. Barely.
Yeah. And see, it truly is a just us system. It really, really is. It really is. It's not a justice system. Well, any other questions from anyone?
Oh, I'm sure I'll have plenty more questions, but I'll write them down or post them in group.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, I don't have any questions. I do have some comments, and first to thank everyone that came. Number one, that's the first thing.
Yes.
Because this is for it's for our followers and people that come support our various projects. And this is a new one, starting hopefully on Friday. Like I said, we'll be beginning to see documents in the library. We can take a deeper dive into the case. And I mean, unlike everybody else, it's hard, when you already have one or two cases under your belt to take on another one and keep everything straight. It's hard to compartmentalize that. And I get it, you get overloaded, your brain pretty gets fried.
Hard.
It is.
Did you read what she said? Nope. What if Nicole gets out and drinks and drives, kills his campaign? He will do nothing for anyone.
Oh, yeah.
Funny. Sorry, James. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just thought it was quite funny.
Anyway, special thanks to Free Nicole for coming and helping us out, helping us understand the case better. I'm sure we'll have more as time goes forward. Special thanks to Ripper and him saying use the damn videos, because I really didn't want to ask him to use more of his stuff. I mean, I'm a little touchy about that, only from the standpoint it's his work and not ours. But we give him full credit. Everything will be linked, and we really think he does a great job. Go give him some love. If you haven't subscribed to Ripper, go see him and watch the videos. He's got many other ones as well. Tiger King, Don Lewis, man, he's got some really good stuff going on. And but these three videos that are linked in the description, go check them out.
Definitely.
Yep. This definitely was a eye catcher of a case, so I'm glad everyone jumped on it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Nosy, for bringing it to our attention, for sure.
All good.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's going to be plenty more. I tag everyone in.
Yeah, you're really good at finding these for us.
I got a doozy
for that.
We got to jump back to Nita Tutt eventually.
Yeah, and Free Nicole says the stuff Ripper used that we used was the stuff they provided to Ripper.
Yes, that's correct.
And so thank you, Nicole, for providing for providing that for us.
Absolutely.
And, my freaking I had reached out to them, and her team had sent me some stuff, and then I'm not an IT guy, so my Gmail stopped working, and I was like, what the hell's going on? I couldn't send out any emails, I couldn't receive any emails or whatever. And for like 4 weeks, I wasn't receiving any type of emails at all, and none of my emails were being responded to. So then one day Ripper calls me, and he was like, hey, you know that Nicole case you were looking at and tagged us all in? He was like, I talked to someone from that case. I was like, you did? I was like, thank you, Jesus. Well, I didn't know this, but my email, did you know your email gets full? Am I the only one that didn't know that?
Unless if you got a Gmail, I mean, I guess you can get some of the stuff you run out of your free space.
My Gmail account was full, and I did not know that I had to buy more storage. But anyways, the wrongful conviction gods brought us all together, and Ripper and them had talked and then got back with me, and then Ripper dove all into it. So I was like, yes. But yeah, I had gotten a few pieces of information from them originally, but due to the email stuff, I wasn't in communication with them anymore. So I'm glad that they're willing to share all of the information that they have, because as y'all all know, it's so hard to go through and try to collect it all. It's just great when there's a team that just already have it,
Do I ever know, man?
Yeah.
Which I meant to ask Nicole or put out the question: are there any radio transmissions from that night that is available? Because no, I've not heard. We've not really talked. Yeah, we've not really talked about it, but I don't think anyone's ever asked the question.
Yeah.
Nosy chicken messages.
We
I
had
would love to hear dispatch.
We have been collecting stuff for 8 years. Yeah, radio or dispatch calls. They were very helpful in the Stephen and Brian case.
Yeah, like they fucking made all the difference. I mean,
Yeah.
learning about that damn call from Andy, I mean, that's a game changer right there.
Yeah, another big game changer was one from Sipple.
Yeah, the Kelly Sipple bone call was a big one too.
And he lied.
I'm gonna have to go back and review that one.
Well, that's the call. That's the call where he called into the headquarters and said, "Hey, I found 2 5-gallon buckets full of human bones out here. I need help."
Yes.
Okay, and then he writes a report for November 9th, and there's nothing about anything from that radio call on there. He lied in his report. His report doesn't. He didn't mention anything about being in the quarry on the 9th. That's what I'm saying. He was doing other things.
I do remember that call now that you say it. I'm better with the content versus who the hell it was.
Yeah, I understand there's too many names. I get it. Brain mush. I got it, man.
She says that she has the logs and the calls, all of them. And I said we would appreciate those as well.
Yeah.
So that will be awesome.
That would be
And just
fantastic.
make sure, just like we do with all the groups, like I know it'll be in foul play, but the group is really small and protected. So keep everything in our small Anyone that is in the groups and wants to share whatever, just keep it small and protected for now. Like as long as Nicole team approves of sharing or whatever, then that's fine. I try to keep it,
Well, yeah, I mean that's what I was saying earlier. I don't think you were here yet, Nosy, but we're going to be hosting everything on the foul play in the foul play library.
Okay, sweet balls, sweet.
There's over a terabyte of information. It's a huge amount of information, so it's not a small project.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is, and Zoe's. Of course, Zoe likes puzzles. I don't know if Zoe's still here, and well, that rascal. Okay, yeah, she got to work tomorrow. So she loves puzzles.
Zoe, I'm completing a 1,000-piece puzzle right now. It's what I do when I need my brain to turn off.
Well, you're gonna need your fingers. Go check your Discord messages.
I will. I'm driving. I'm almost home.
Yeah, that's right. Everything everything we have is public, so that's correct.
Sweet.
Anyway, Christina.
Yep, I think that's that. I think episode 8 is a wrap. Thank you, everyone, for coming and participating here and in chat. Thanks to Cat. Is it Catnip? I always say her name.
Catnip. Yep.
Catnip and Dark Side for being the great chat mods they are. Thanks to Rhonda. Thanks to everyone. And we'll see you next week for episode 9.
This has been a Foul Play production.
Y'all.